at 10 tonight. New information about 2 explosions that happened at the same house in Roy back in July.
Tonight, the fire marshal says the house exploded while contractors were working to replace the furnace inside of the house.
Yeah, David Ochoa live from Roy tonight for us, and you spoke with the fire marshal, the homeowner, and also reached out to the contractor working on the furnace. What's the latest on all this? What did happen back in July?
Well, right now, this big red dumpster behind me, Mark, is full of rubble because the house has been completely torn down. Those explosions and the fire that followed made it a total loss, so they had to tear it down. Now, Express Home Services was the company working on the furnace. Now, when we found out about that, it was after normal business hours, so I did reach out, but I didn't hear back. In July, Kim McFarlane was having an old furnace replaced in her home in Roy. She was on the couch watching the Olympics while 2 contractors from Express Home Services worked in the basement. But then,
all of a sudden there was a huge boom.
An explosion. According to Roy Fire Marshal Mike King, the workers had to remove the gas pipe in front of the old furnace, which included the shutoff valve. They shut off the gas at the main connection and then used a torch. King says Roy Fire Department believes gas was flowing out of an open pipe into the ventilation system and void spaces, which caused the first explosion. It blew out the back door and part of the wall. King says they think the second explosion happened when gas traveled up the piping into the attic. Somehow, no one was seriously injured.
It is a miracle, to be honest. I'm just so grateful everyone's okay.
Nearly 5 months later, McFarlane is still feeling the effects of the explosion.
I feel like there's a black cloud that follows me around.
She says she's always on edge now and waiting for something else to happen to her. But on top of having to deal with the experience of surviving an explosion, she's had to deal with the whole process of rebuilding. McFarlane is currently living in an apartment that her insurance is helping pay for.
It's not a big apartment, and we're used to family gatherings and big Thanksgivings, and we aren't having any of that. We don't have a Christmas tree. There's just stuff. It's hard.
Now, McFarlane and her family are planning to rebuild a house here at this same spot. There's still more work to be done to find out who exactly was at fault in these explosions. Now, again, I did reach out to Express Home Services and Enbridge Gas Company, but again, we didn't find out until it was expressed until after business hours, so we haven't heard back from either of those companies. Reporting live in Roy, David Ochoa, KUTV 2 News.